Discworld. Basically, Hitchiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but turned fantasy, especially with all the fourth wall breaks. The first book is basically an everyman who is an insurance salesman from China, goes to Fantasyland, hires a wizard as a guide, and goes on the standard hero's journey in order to escape from the mundanities of reality. He just wants to see something special and feel something special. This already has a parody in the making, with the writing of Terry Pratchett that just keeps hooking one after the other, keeps going hit after hit, with things like Rincewind wanted to believe in science, truth, and reason, and then he remembered he was in a Discworld on the back of 4 elephants who are riding atop a giant turtle, who is probably wandering off into space in order to hook up with another turtle. That is the Big Bang Theory. Hello, I'm Ryan from the future, also the editor, also from the 80s. Now, I just finished The Light Fantastic. It's a day later. And I realize I really can't talk about one book without talking about the others. Really, the two should be combined in, like, a book called The One-Spell Wizzard or something like that. But in any case, the first book really ends on a cliffhanger, and the second book really picks up from there. And as I was looking through the structure of it, I was analyzing the structure of the story afterwards, I realized how directly the hero's journey applies to this. I really think that this was probably conceived of as the worst adventurer in the world, the worst wizard in the world, who just kind of wants to sit at home and drink tea or drink beer, and stay as safe as possible, and who is afraid of everything, gets dragged along by this tourist who wants to experience the hero life. So the worst hero in the world becoming what he's supposed to with the help of Two Flower. However, since he's such a complainer, since he is not particularly likable enough, and since he is not proactive at all, in fact, he just like, why can't we just go home? A lot of people don't like Rincewind as a hero very much, despite the fact that he is super competent at staying alive. I think that there's Two Flower comments that there are 57 times where he ought to have died, but because he has a fear-based spidey sense, he just survives. So he's hyper competent in that area. But in all other ways, he's just sort of a stick in the mud, and a lot of people don't like Rincewind as much for that reason. That said, I still think that Terry Pratchett's genius really shows through here. If you're going to read one of these books, you need to read the second one. The story is incomplete without both The Color of Magic and The Light Fantastic, its sequel. Speaking of the humor in this and the earlier books, they tend to break the fourth wall a lot. The heroes are saved by a intervention which feels out of character. The character of Two Flower, the traveler from a foreign land, feels like literally inserting a person from the modern world into a fantasy world to live their escapist fantasy and go on their hero's journey from like, I want to fight dragons, I want to meet up with Conan the Barbarian, I want to go off the edge of the world. It doesn't feel like it's striking at the heart of the characters. It feels like it's undercutting the seriousness of it. When I think core Pratchett, I think someone who can really blend comedy and drama to really make you feel who these characters are and what they believe in, and it strikes right at the heart. And these early books just don't have that. They still have excellent comedy. It's still like a 3.5 or a 4, which is what I give Dresden, which is a very good score. But it just doesn't hit that same chord. Still, seeing the wizard who just does not want to be a part of this heroic expedition team up with someone who really shouldn't be here, but really wants to be on this expedition, is one of the highlights of the fantasy genre. As a parody, Discworld has a lot of love to it. A lot of other parodies mock the subject, or mock the people who read the subject, even demeaning them. Discworld has a love for fantasy readers, and clearly, like, a passion for delivering fantasy, even though it just acknowledges that these worlds that we love are really screwed up if you think about it. But since the love is there, the passion shines through. If you're interested in seeing top quality comedy writing, if you're interested in seeing a hero's journey done really well, if you're just interested in seeing Two Flower and Rincewind before they become the big names that they are in fantasy, this is the right book for you. Now, if you don't mind, my cat is meowing at me to get more food, and that means that it's time to stop. I'll see you on Saturday. Adios. Bop, 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 book it, Lou. Book it, Lou, that's what I'll do, and this is all I'm gonna say to you.